people on, so it's more fun to talk about stuff we disagree, and that was kind of the goal, just any issues that atheists might disagree with each other. Sort of a meta show, you know? And I've more or less stayed true to that. I would say nowadays I'm really trying to talk science a lot more and, like, learn a lot. Like, I just want to find guests that teach me something, you know, or teach us something. And I think I've done it. So it's kind of a mix of those things. And then I also, you know, we'll talk about things relevant to the movement or at least inter-atheism issues or anything like that. But also, I don't abortion, for example. Like, there's secular pro-lifers. There's all these issues where even among atheists, people disagree, and so it's fun to talk about them. But,
mythicism thing was, I hate saying that word, mythicism.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was really neat. But
yeah, that's one for sure. That's one where I disagree with a lot of atheists. And I it's not because it's just because I don't think I'm good at history at all, and I'm going to trust historical consensus for the most part. But it's pretty amazing how many atheists are mythicists. I think they just would prefer Jesus not exist for some reason, maybe because I don't know, maybe it's because it's like funnier.
It's easier.
It's more insult to Christianity. No, I mean, I'm sure I know there's arguments, and I don't mean to make light of people who recognize those arguments and stuff, but I don't personally find them compelling. So, but it's a good thing to talk about, and I've got people on either side of it, and I think I'll probably still do a few more shows on it eventually.
Being that you try to do opposite, I wouldn't say contrarian views sometimes, but do you get like a lot of hate mail or just a lot of? I remember after the Eli episode, I'm sure you got some shit from that one.
Yeah, I would say hate mail goes from like 0 to infinite when Eli comes on. He brings out the best in people. I don't get a lot of hate mail. I do get a lot of disagreement. I get plenty of people saying like, "Nah, you're wrong about this" or whatever, and it's definitely it's difficult, you know. It's difficult to do a show and talk, especially when I do all commentary ones. Those ones I like doing them because I just have opinions and I want to share them and see if they stand up to scrutiny. So I do like doing them, but they are probably the least enjoyable ones to do. A, because it's just me talking, and it's, who cares about that? But also, it's stressful. I post it, and then immediately I'm waiting for the people to be like, "Oh man, you totally fucked this up," or "You got this totally wrong," like just right away. And it sucks. You kind of have to. I had to learn to deal with it. It's not easy. To have people point out where you're wrong. Like, nobody likes that, and it's hard. But my listeners have been pretty good. I mean, they're nice. They're opinionated, and sure, they'll tell me I'm wrong on stuff. But I like my listeners. They're able to usually do it in a way that doesn't make me feel too shitty for getting something wrong.
Yeah, there's a difference between constructive criticism and being an asshole, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not sure how to do the constructive criticism part, but my asshole part is really good.
That's the part you're more familiar with.
Yeah, it's in the name. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. I know you're busy.
Oh, yeah, no problem, man. Anytime.
Get back to making awesome podcasts.
I'll leave it to anyone else to decide if they're awesome, but yeah, making podcasts is about all I have time to do. Got to get back to it.
Oh, man, it's insane. I couldn't imagine. But
yep.
I do appreciate you coming on. Anyone who doesn't know who Thomas Smith is, seriously, fuck off. He's got 4 pretty amazing podcasts, and check them out. They're Atheistically Speaking, Comedy Shoeshine, Thomas in the Bible, soon to be Thomas in the other books, and Opening Arguments, his newest, which is really, really cool. I'm a big fan.
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming on, man. Have a good one.
You too. Cool.
That was awesome, man. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right. Have a good day, man.
You too.
And I'll let you know. I'll tag you when the episode comes out. Hopefully
please
it'll be
do,
Wednesday,
yeah.
assuming I get it all edited and shit. So.
Nice. Yeah, I'll throw it on the social media and whatnot.
Appreciate it, bro. Have a good one.
No problem. Yeah, good luck with your yard work.
Thanks. It's been a blast.
See ya.
See ya.
Welcome back. This is Adam Fusen, and we're going to go into a specific cult religion of some friends of mine who I'm trying to interview online. One of these people shared this story and mentioned that they were a part of this Christian organization, which is kind of a cult, whatever, that type of thing. But she did mention I've been trying to get her to come in and do an interview online. But what struck me the most is that this sounded like a Jehovah's Witness organization, in the fact that in her first entire 18 years of her life, she never celebrated a birthday. They never celebrated Halloween. They didn't celebrate any 4th of July gatherings, anything that didn't had to go around God. And anything else that was beside that was sacrilegious. And we're going to talk about a little bit about that religion right now. And I shared that with the guys, and we're going to talk about that here tonight.
I thought it was interesting how how a cult goes to being a religion. When I had my world religions course, and the first question the teacher asked was just between a cult and a religion, and I said spelling, and he thought that was kind of humorous. The class didn't so much, but I think it's interesting. I mean, I guess technically every religion is a cult. If you want to get super technical about it, I guess you could probably say that. But it's really fascinating how he took this little group into this giant money-making endeavor, which is pretty impressive. Which is, I mean, L. Ron Hubbard's done it, and everybody else has done it too.
Yeah. And I think Scientology really epitomizes how it goes from cult to world church level. And ironically, I think it's gone to its cultish roots in the way it recruits people and inspires people. Because L. Ron Hubbard is the god. He's the figurehead you aspire to be.
Yes, he is.
Even though technically, when you're looking at their different levels, you don't have to believe in God in Scientology.
Well, folks, this article was on crack.com, and you can probably just Google in crack.com and go to Worldwide Church of God, and you'll pick up this story. And it starts out about, the 6 differences about the 6 things you learn living in a killing a cult. But what's the difference between a religion and a cult? I've heard several different instances.
The only difference is time.
Oh, well, I've heard that the only difference is the amount of property they own.
I heard it was 100 years. That's what my teacher said. It was about 100 years. The difference between a cult and
I guess that's what needs to be understood. You have to look at where the word cult came from. And that's why I say time. Because the word cult, when they first came up with this, Latin, it was just worship. Everything was a cult. They didn't use the word religion. God, it just meant to worship. But then they started putting these more negative connotations to it. I mean, really, the word cult nowadays, it's only a pejorative. There's nothing, it's not really even a term used by psychologists anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes like a synopsis with Waco, Texas, and what happened there, a couple of decades ago. But at the same time, really, what is the difference between a cult and religion?
Money.
Yeah.
Money. Yeah. Money. I know, it's ultimately money and politics. Behind any movement. Religion is ultimately a social where you're from, like when they say, if you were born in Saudi Arabia, you most likely be Muslim, and that is very true. So really, that's what it comes down to, is politics and money is what determines a cult. It's like I was telling Joe the other day. Cults, we're really not using the right term here. They don't even use the word cult anymore, but people just tend to recognize that meaning the extremist religious groups. Either way, they're all established religion. But the bottom line is that the only difference between them is just the motivation and the money behind it. And it's like the American Idol contest of beliefs. Some are going to win that ticket and get the contract, and some aren't, and they're going to go into obscurity.
Well, I understand what you're saying there, but at the same time, the religious people, especially down here in the South, assault anything with the word cult to be a satanic organization.
Of course. But they also would call Westboro a cult.
Very true.
They would also call ISIS a cult.
Yep.
Seventh-day Adventists. Cult. Pentecostalism. That's cultism, if you want to be throwing that word around.
Absolutely.
That's just what it is. I mean, it's a pejorative. It's a way to make other denominations less than the one you're a member of. That's what the word cult is for, ultimately.
I mean,
just going around saying, "Oh, Halloween's is a cult organization," or that's a pagan holiday. But at the same time, you got the same people turning around and saying, "Oh, well, you should celebrate Christmas because it's a religious holiday." Well, technically, it's not. Most religious scholars would agree that friggin' Jesus was born in September, but
I thought it was June.
Maybe so. Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
Depends on which Israeli archaeologist you're talking to.
Christmas is a completely pagan holiday. It's the winter solstice, and the trees are pagan. The Yule log is pagan. The presents, I think that's pagan also. But that's what But that's what if you co-opt an area,
well, I don't know why
you
they
convert people to your religion. I mean, that's what Constantine did. That's how Christianity got big to begin with. He's like, hey, look at. Oh, I was just gonna say, if you look at, he's like, hey, this is working out. I can get everybody, united under this one thing, and then game on.
Yeah, I mean, they had to hold on to some of the aspirations, and that is, I'm sorry, religion is politics. They act like there should be a separation of church and state. The problem is, religion is a form of state. It's just not one that's recognized by the actual governing state. It's like this whole Sharia law business. Really, any religion that has its own set-up rules, it's a form of Sharia. Okay? It's a godly law that goes up and above the realm of man, which defies what's at least in Christian holy books, because the Christian holy book says, follow the laws of your land, respect those folks, and give it to Caesar what is Caesar's. You have your own laws and rules.
Except for goddamn Obama. Except for Obama, he's a Muslim.
Because Halloween's actually a Christian holiday, and that's something I never understood. Day. Yeah, and it's All Hallows Day is what it is. And yeah, they recognize saints, martyrs, and the faithfully departed. I don't get why my parents were against it. And that just shows the intersect of, oh, no, we're not, this is the whole less than thing again. Oh, well, if they were real Christians, they wouldn't celebrate that holiday because they see it as idol worship and idolatry because you're dressing up in costume and all this other stuff, and having fun. I know, I was one of those kids. I did not get to celebrate Halloween. Well, I did. My last time I went, I was 3 or 4 years old because I remember the costume I wore. And that was it. If there was a parade, I was not allowed to look out the window and even observe the parade going by because it'd be a bad, evil influence. We sat in the dark for 2 hours with the lights off and ignored people knocking on the door for candy.
Well, the good news is religion doesn't harm anybody, so that's good. I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Right, and I mean, Christmas, this is where it's really fucked up. I left out cookies and milk for Santa Dad. I got gifts from Santa Dad. I shit you not. This is what my parents did. But you know what's really messed up? Easter? I got to go on Easter egg hunts. Dad, no Halloween, but I could go get Easter shit, and they would always give me cool shit for Easter.
That's just weird.
No logic.
No.
Just because, just because. No reason.
Well, I mean, that's a great reason for things, just because.
Some serious fucking hell if I wasn't allowed to take my goddamn friends down to Showbiz Pizza. on my fucking birthday. I'm telling you, that's just